feed your skills. Hashtag let's learn and grow together. Hello everyone. Welcome to our another brand new episode, webinar number 688, sponsored by Institute of Global Professionals. So, this is another opportunity to learn, to grow, to become better through learning. So, dear participants, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from your place right now in here. Yes. Thank you so much for joining with us in this live session. And I'm requesting all of you, please stay with us till the end of our program. So, dear participants, once again, I'm your host, Nasrin Nisha, for tonight. Welcome you all to our Institution of Global Professionals International Webinar. And I'm sure that you all will have many takeaways and payoffs from this webinar. So, dear participants, let's learn together and grow together because we believe that power is gained by sharing knowledge, not holding it. And each time you can give or react and comment in our comment box in our webinar. Also, don't forget to give a thumbs up or a react in our Facebook official page. To subscribe our YouTube channels, click the bell icon so that you can get the notification when we go for live. So, dear participants, and I hope that you will learn a lot from this session. And we have a surprise for tonight's session. I think you will be happy like me when you see our speaker. Okay, so dear participants, let's check our comments. So right now we have Ma'am Jeanine Wheeler already joined from YouTube. Thank you, ma'am, for joining. Great evening. Okay, we have Sir Joseph Nebulas Placer. Thank you so much, sir, for cooperating, mentioning everyone. Thank you so much, Sir Sunday, for joining with us. We have Ma'am Carmela Bihin watching from Facebook. All right, we have Sir Guevara. Am I right? Thank you for watching. Okay, thank you, Sir Sunday, for mentioning. Thank you, Ma'am Rosanna, for watching from Philippines. Thank you so much. We have Ma'am Gemma Benelada. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am Isaya Kirangi from Kenya. Thank you so much, ma'am, for watching. We have Ma'am Angelina, Ma'am Christine, Ma'am Charilyn. Okay, Ma'am Janeline Borja. Thank you so much for joining with us. And right now we have so many comments are coming in our comment box. Thank you so much, Ma'am Castillo, for commenting. Thank you so much, Sir Ellen Herbertus, for joining in with us. And I'm requesting to all of our participants, please mention your friends and tag them in our comment box. Mention at least your 5 friends in our comment box so that they can also join in our live session. They should get the opportunity, right? They should also get the opportunity to learn. Yes, because we have already shared that we when when we want to learn, we have to share. When we share our knowledge, we will be better, right? Yes. So thank you so much once again to all of our participants for joining in this marvelous moment. So right now I'm going to share a little concept about Institute of Global Professionals. Yes. So IGP is an ISO verified international training institute. IGP is a non-profit educational institute, serves student and community resource, providing holistic social work and education to create a best learning platform for all of you. Yes, IGP is leading an online skill development institute with thousands of learners worldwide. We make it gadget able to use for every knowledge seeker to originate personality, more ambitious, make confident to face any circumstance and develop own skills. We are entrusted with international recognition. IGP believes that it's not effective to increase one's skills just by acquiring formal education. So we provide effective training and consultation to generate profession generation all over the world. We organized our webinar, online, offline courses, etc. by best and trained speakers from all over the globe to create a best learning platform for all of you. And our mission is empower people, empower our youth, and enhance. So, dear participants, we have already successfully completed our webinar number 687 in the afternoon session. And now I'm presenting webinar number 688. The topic is Science Process Skills Impact on Students' Performance Test. Yes. So, dear audience, we will proceed to our program step by step, but you have to be stay with us till the end of our program because we will share international webinar code in the end of our program. Yes. So I'll not long my conversation anymore because I'm very excited to invite our speaker. So let's start our program with IGP's mantra, our slogan that is feed your skills. You can also comment in our comment box with hashtag feed your skills, hashtag IGP. So today we have our honorable speaker from Philippines, Ma'am Roena Rodriguez Nicolas. She is a secondary school teacher, three universities, National High School, and she has been working as a teacher. She have already shared about that with me for the last 17 to 18 years. Am I right, correct, ma'am? So there is a surprise why I have shared that because she is one of the active participants in IGP's platform, and I'm very proud to have her here right now. I can't explain anymore. Let's welcome her. Hello, ma'am. I'm so
Hello, ma'am.
excited.
Good evening, Ma'am Nashurin.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm so excited to share with participants, but
Me
I could.
too.
I
Me really looking with a lovely and pretty face in the screen.
I'm very lucky that you are here. I am hosting the program. I feel so lucky and so happy today. And we are ready to hear you, ready to gain knowledge from you. So this is your
Okay.
platform right now.
Yes, ma'am.
But before that, share about yourself. We want to hear you. And I want to hear you. I'm very excited.
Okay, so once again, good evening, Ma'am Nashurin. Good evening, my co-educators in the different countries. Okay, so it is really my pleasure to be the speaker for tonight. So share something about me as an IGP. Do I consider as an IGP member? Yes, I have an active I came across IGP for way back 2 years ago. Okay, way back 2 years ago, and then I had already earned my quiz completion certificates. And as every time I was able to be in the top 10 in the IGP quiz, I really saved the link and I forward the link to my co-teachers so that they will be also be joining with me for some accomplishment and some excitement and then growing professionally. And then here now I was given the opportunity to become a speaker wherein it is merely a try for myself if I can really do. And then I am already downloaded some more than 120 certificates. in the
Oh, great.
IGP in every session. Wherein for that 2 years, yes, I find it every time I had the time to print for my IGP certificate. And then I noticed that the certificate last year the background is color red, but this year it's quite blue and white, and then it really amazed with my eyes. So that's why I really strive for every time there's a quiz competition, I really tried myself to have a correct answer so that I can have a certificate that is really so attractive, the color white and the color blue. So since I have already given the opportunity now to become the speaker, so my next plan is to have or to earn my IGP lifetime membership, or perhaps a little bit effort, more
I
effort.
think I'm very lucky that this is a platform where I can meet so many brilliant persons without any appointment.
Yes, there's a really brilliant speakers here in IGP wherein I really grow professionally, especially those speakers who will really have to talk about research, about the modality, the teaching strategies of our current modality in our education. So most of the topic is really timely.
Okay, so are you ready to share your presentation?
Okay, I am ready, Mom Nashrin. But before I will have to share my presentation, let me take this opportunity, just a second, okay, to mention my teachers connected in the Department of Education from Mercedes National High School. Good evening to everyone, and also to my family and to my co colleagues in the Department of Education here in Zamboanga City Division, Region 9, Philippines. Okay, so good evening. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so is it clear,
Yes, it's
ma'am?
feasible. Yes,
Okay.
and the platform is all yours.
Okay, so thank you, Ma'am Nashurin. Thank you, IGP family. So I choose this topic for my speakership tonight because as a science teacher, it is really a must, or it is really a necessity to start every academic year revisiting these basic process skills. Usually during face-to-face, we really do the revisit of these basic process skills. We did science teachers from grade 1 to grade 12. We do this revisit on the basic process skills on our students, usually um, during the first 2 weeks of our classes. Okay, before we will have to proceed discussing further with the learning competencies embedded in the MELC in the science curriculum. And because of the threat of COVID-19 nowadays, wherein we experience a crisis in educational system to the extent that there was really closure to some institutions, and then there was a shift of learning modality in the teaching services. But for Deaf Ed Philippines, we really appreciate our agency for having this urgent response to ensure its commitment for teaching and learning continuity while looking after with the health, the safety, and the well-being of our learners and teachers. So the DepEd issued this memorandum for the DepEd Order Number 12, Series of 2020, the adoption of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, and the DepEd Order 31, Series of 2021, the Interim Policy Guidelines for Assessment and Grading in light of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan. So the DepEd Order provide guidance on the assessment of student learning and on the grading scheme. So, the significance for sharing my findings of my thesis to depth order number 31, series of 2021, is that the assessment of the student learning for the grading scheme, knowing that one of the components in computing for the quarterly grades of our students now is the performance task, which is weighted 50% from the students' output. So that's why I chose this topic for my presentations tonight. So good evening, and I am Rowena R. Simbulas, a teacher three from Mercedes National High School, at the same time a student of a Doctor of Education in Zamboanga Polytechnic State University. Okay, so before I will have to start, I will have to share these quotes wherein it is relative to our topic tonight. Okay, the future belongs to those who learn more skills and combine them in a creative ways, by Robert Greene. So, as a science teacher, it is really necessary for us to introduce this basic learning process so that this our students will have to gain or to master the learning competencies, and they will develop the other higher process skills in science. Okay, another quote is, science is the systematic classification of experience, by George Henry Lewis. Okay, for my objectives for tonight's presentation, okay, number one is to discuss the components of the research. So I am using the our institutional formats. Okay, and then number two, to identify the basic process skills in teaching science, wherein I will have to define and give examples on the basic process skills in teaching science. Number three, so identify the level of the basic process skills of the students, wherein we will have to use this measure of the weighted mean for us to determine the level of the basic process skills of the students. So for number four, to identify the level of the performance task of students. So the same measure, the weighted mean, in order for us to determine the level of the performance task of our students. So number five, to discuss the significant impact of the basic process skills in teaching science on students' level of performance tasks in terms of individual and group performance tasks. Okay, so these are the components of my research. Okay, so I had this research during my thesis journey. So basically, if we are holding a thesis, of course, you will really see the first page, that is the title page. And then later on, I will have to give some of the tips on how to construct for a title. And then followed by an abstract, then acknowledgement. For my presentation today, it composes, I will discuss some of the highlights in the four chapters. Okay, chapter one, that is merely for introduction, that may include background of the study, the statement of the problem, significance of the study, the scope and limitation. And then for chapter two, the review of related literature and studies. Okay, and then we have this um, the legal basis, the related literature, and the related studies for chapter 2. And then for chapter 3, research methodology, I will share how to construct or to gives what will be the key salient points to include for research design, the research locale, the respondents of the study, the sampling procedure, the research instruments, the data gathering procedure. And then for chapter 4, which is the data analysis and presentation, so I will have to share the findings of my study, in which I believe that it will really contribute significant to the education system that we have now. And then I will state the conclusion, recommendation, and to have a spot for my references. Okay, so for my title, Process Skills in Teaching Science, the Impact on Students' Performance Tasks. Okay, so merely with this title, there are really three variables. Okay, first is the independence. So for my title, the independent variable is the process skills. Okay, the dependent variable is the student's performance task. Okay, the intervening variable is the impact. Okay, when you say independent, okay, this is really the topic in which this will be the cause of the study, wherein the result of the independent variable is from the word the independent to other study. Unlike for dependent variable, okay, this is the effect on the independent variable. And then the intervening variable, this is the connection between the independent variable and the dependent variable. Okay, for the abstract, wherein it depends on the institutional formats. Okay, so for the abstract, there are institutional format wherein you need to start with the aims of your study. You need to include some features in your related literature, and then your findings and the recommendations. Okay, for the acknowledgement, of course, you will have to dedicate your study to those persons who contributed to your study. Okay, for the chapter one, which is the introductions. So for the introduction, I will have to highlight or the background of the study. So for the introduction, it composes of 5 paragraphs. The first paragraph, it will talk or define or will discuss your independent variable. So since my independent variable is the science process skills, so I define science process skills are a set of skills used in scientific activities in teaching lessons to the students. So students with science process skills are actively involving in learning. So science process skills such as the observing, classifying, measuring, inferring, predicting, and communicating. So later on, as I say, we will have to elaborate these 6 process skills in science. And then for the second paragraph, this will define and discuss your dependent variable. So since my dependent variable is more on the performance task, so I include the DepEd Order Number 8, Series of 2015, the policy guidelines on classroom assessment for the K-12 basic education program that recommend the performance-based summative assessment, formative assessment, and the quarterly assessment used in computing for grades. Okay, for our third paragraph is the connection. You need to connect the independent variable to your dependent variable. Either it is findings or it is a literature. So for my third paragraph, in which I connect independent to dependent variables, so I say this: development of the basic process skills is important, as well as development of proper scientific attitude and values. So one of the purpose of teaching is inculcation of desirable attitudes and values. That is according to PASIA 2014. So for my fourth paragraph, we will have to include an observation or an actual scenario that is present in your workplace that you consider this as a problem, or this might give us a gap for certain project that cannot be attained in your school project or objectives. Okay, that is included in your science in your school improvement plan, or an observation that may consider as a root cause for hindering students' improvement. Okay, so for my observation in my study, I state this: the low achievement on performance tasks and quarterly assessment of students in science is deteriorating yearly. And likewise, rampant problems directly to other subject areas. The deteriorating performance of students in the National Achievement Test or the NAT in science and mathematics is already a proof that there is still a problem. Okay. For the last paragraph of my introduction, so we will have to include this as our aim of your study. Okay, so I state it. The researcher opted to conduct the study to find out if science process skills are properly acquired by the students, what are their attitude towards science, and how they may affect the students' abilities in directly performing such performance tasks given in a science activities. Okay, and then for the statement of the problem, wherein this will be the TIF, wherein for the first SOP or statement of the problem, you will have a descriptive problem of your independent variable. So since my independent variable is process skill, so I states my SOP number one as what are the process skills in teaching science in terms of observing, classifying, measuring, inferring, predicting, and communicating. Okay, my SOP number two or statement of the problem number two, this is a descriptive problem to your dependent variable. So since my dependent variable is it will talk on performance tasks, so I state my statement of the problem number two as what is the performance task of the respondents during the first and the second quarter in terms of individual tasks and the group tasks. Okay. For my statements of the problem number three, this is a significant relationship statement wherein I state it what is the impact of the process skills in teaching science on students' performance tasks in terms of individual tasks and group tasks. Okay. And then for my statement of the problem number four, this is a significant difference statement. So for my SOP number four, I had this. Is there a significant difference in the process skills in teaching science and the performance tasks of the respondents when data are grouped according to profile? Okay, so that are my statement of the problem. Okay, so for significant of the study, I will no longer have to share, but it really depends on the topic. Okay, wherein the tip that I can share is in constructing a significant of the study, you need to start to mention from inward to outward. What do I mean with inward? When you say inward, you will have to state the significance of your study inward, so within in your agency, and then following the hierarchical order. So for example, with this, my significant of the study, the inward, so I categorize this, and then I arrange it from in an hierarchical order. So the first I include the science division supervisor because division supervisor is in the division office level. And then moving in the same agency to our school. So you will have to state your significance of this study to the school heads. The next in rank is the school coordinator, the school teachers, the grade 7 students, then the researchers. Okay. And when I say outward, it means you will state your significance of this study to um, those researchers or to those of persons wherein they are out of your agency. Okay, let us say the the parents of the respondents, the community of the respondents. So you may also include the significance of the study. Okay, the scope and limitations of the study. So it comprises of three paragraphs. Wherein the first paragraph, you will have to state this in your aim of your study. So as I say here, I wrote this here. The study will focus on the process skills in observing, classifying, measuring, inferring, predicting, and communicating of the students and its impact to the performance tasks of the students. Okay, so that's how I construct my first paragraph for the formulation of the scope and limitations of the study. For the second paragraph, you will have to include the variable in the profile of your respondents. You may state the profile on age, the sex, the parents' economic status, and ethnicity of the students are also considered. Okay, for the third paragraph, you will have to mention the year as to when you will have to conduct the study. Okay. The year. Okay, so for my study, I I say that the study will be conducted to the respondents of the grade 7 students who are officially enrolled for this school year 2019 to 2020 in the six selected national high schools in Zamboanga City Division. So I mentioned the respondents, the year, the school year that the conduct of the study, and the division, okay, of the study. Okay, for the chapter 2, related of review of the related literature and studies. Okay, these are the tips. So you will have to arrange the variables or the themes, or and then they must be arrange them according to legal basis, according to related literature, or according to related studies. Okay, so in our format, we also subdivide the related literature. That is, we divided it to foreign literature and local literature. And our related studies, the same as we also categorize it as one for as yes, we categorize for foreign studies and for local studies, and then see to it that the variables that you included in the related literature, there must be a relation. Okay, for example, in my study, it focused on the science process skills. So perhaps I will include the variables for the process skills, and then I will have to look for on literature. Or first is to look for the basis for the process skills, and then I will look for related literature for process skills, and then I will also have to look for um, related studies for process skills, and then perhaps you can include another variables. Okay, so say as include in my research the process skills, I mentioned also about performance tasks. Okay, perhaps you may also include student impact, or you will have to go deeper to your variables that you mentioned in your statement of the problem. And then for the review of the related literature and studies, okay, there are institutions that requires it must be 5 years, okay, the current 5 years, or there are institutions that requires 10 years back. So within 10 years. So it depends really on the study and the institution policy. And then the review of related literature, it must be concise and coherent. So in every variables, perhaps it will not take us as a one page. Perhaps four para four lines may also do, as long as it is concise, coherent, and all the silent features already there. And then you will have to use for transitional phrase. Let us say from one statement you say according to, and then if the next related literature having a similarity, you may say in addition, moreover. Okay, but if the next related literature is a quite contradicting, you may say, on the other hand. Okay, so the last thing is do not forget to include citations in your related literature and studies. For the conceptual framework, okay, so these are the tips. Okay, so you have your boxes. So our reference is from our left sides. So there are boxes. So the first box in our from the left side, this is the box that is intended for our independent variable. So since I am discussing, since I identified as my independent variable as the process scale, so I um, I enumerated, or I really mention the variables for my independent in the first box. And then moving to the second box, this is our dependent variable, which is the performance task. And then to the next box, this is the intervening variable, which is the impact of the process skills to student performance, that might either individual performance task or a group task. And then below, we that connect with the two, the independent and the dependent variable, is the profile of our respondents. Okay. And then for the operational definition of the key variables and other terms, so this definition must be defined operationally. When you say operationally, you define the each definition based on how you use the terms in your study. Okay, as I have here, process skills, and I define it operationally as it refers to the set of skills used in scientific activities in teaching lessons, applying skills such as the observing, classifying, inferring, predicting, and communicating. Then I have also identified these variables: the observing, classifying, measuring, inferring, predicting, communicating, performance tasks, individual performance tasks, the group performance tasks, okay, the age, the sex, the monthly family income, and the ethnicity. So, as I say, we will have to define why we will have to define the six process skills one by one. So I define operationally observing as the most basic process skills in science. So usually observation are made by using the five senses. So observing categorizes as quantitative observation and qualitative observation. Okay, when you say quantitative observation, these are the observations that might include numbers. Unlike for qualitative observations, these are observations that merely given by our students through the use of their senses. Okay, so classifying is the skills in arranging systematically the similarities, the differences, and the interrelationship of group of objects, phenomenon, characteristics according to a purpose. Wherein this is really I could still remember in my lesson presentation, this is really the skills wherein the students really love to do for group presentations. Okay, for measuring, refer to the skills in observing quantitative using numbers and standard or standardized measuring tool as the reference unit. So measuring involves counting, collecting, comparing, recording, and interpreting data. Okay, so usually we use these measuring skills when we do laboratory work, especially experiments. Inferring refer to the skills in explaining an attempt to interpret evidences of the sets of observations in making early conclusions or choice by relating previous experience with immediate observation. So usually when we do the revisit, the students will somehow will be confused with inferring and predicting. But there are really an activity wherein it will really give an inferring, it will lead to the development of inferring skills and predicting skills. Okay, so predicting refer to the skills in forecasting or an educated guess what a future observations might be or previous experience or a certain pattern of reliable data. Predicting is based in careful observation in planning and considering choices. So the last process skills is the communicating. Refer to the process skills, receiving, spreading, speaking, listening, writing, expressing, recording, and sharing of information and ideas by using symbols, chart, graphs, tables, diagrams, drawing, mathematical equations, visual demonstration, and questions from the sender to the receiver. So usually we we really do this in terms of in the physics in terms using graphs or during presentation group presentation in a form of multiple intelligences. Okay, so performance tasks refer to the learning activity that asks students to perform to demonstrate their knowledge, the skills, and proficiency for individual tasks or group tasks. Okay, when we say individual performance tasks, so refer to any learning activity or assessment that asks students to demonstrate individually. Okay, individually, then and they will have to demonstrate the knowledge and the understanding and the proficiency that they have. And then for group performance tasks, it refers to any learning activity or assessment that asks students to demonstrate in group that it requires their knowledge, their understanding, and their proficiency. Okay. So I define my age here operationally. So it refers to the chronological age of the respondents that categorizes according to 11 years old and below, and 12, 13, and 14 and 15 years old and above. So these are the curriculum age of our grade 7 students. For this sex refers to the respondents' characteristics for being a male and a female. The monthly family income differs to the respondent's parents of monthly income categorizes as 5,000 and below, 5,000 to 6,000, 6,000 to 15,000, 5,000, 16,000 to 25,000, and 25,000 and above. Okay, for ethnicity, this refers to the respondent's tribe. So here in Zamboanga, we have this ethnicity group, the ethnic group of Sambongueño, the Tausug, Tagalog, Visayan, and other specified tribes. For the research methodology, okay, so simply as this for research design. So this is the salient statement that you can include in your research design. Perhaps you can state this as this study utilized the descriptive quantitative research design. Then you may also define what is descriptive and what is quantitative research design. And then don't forget to include a citation or name the author that in which you include in your study. Okay, for the research local, okay, you may also state this as simple as this study was conducted in the 5 public secondary schools in the division of Zamboanga City. These schools were coded as described. So you will not mention the name of the school, but rather you will have to code the schools of the schools where you conducted your study. So after you coded, say school A will be the code A, school B will be the code B, school C will be the code C, school D will be the code D, school E will be the code D. After that, you may include some of the descriptions that perhaps you can state or you can identify their school ID. Then you can say the location of the school in terms of reference. Perhaps you may say that it is 15 kilometers away from the city. Okay, there must be a common reference of the schools that the 5 schools that you have conducted or the different schools that you have conducted. And then you may also include or describe the area of the school, the number of the students. You may also have to state the number of the teaching personnel, and even the position of the school head or the principal holding in that school. Okay, so for the population and the respondents of the study, you may have these statements as simple as, okay, you may state as the target population of the study were the grade 7 students in the five public secondary national high schools in Zamboanga City. Then you may also state that the total population, the end which is yes, in my study, okay, I had this total population na 3,970, where the male is 1,901 and the female is 2,069. Okay, out of the total population, you may state that the sample size is 363, whereas the male is 173 and female is 190. So where did we got this na the sample size? Of course, we can include in the formulation of our statement for population and respondents of the study. You may state this as Lovin formula was employed to the sample size for each school. So the total population is 3,970 at 0.05 margin of errors and 95% degree of confidence. Okay. The next thing is the sampling procedure. So for sampling procedure, we may state that this study used the simple random sampling from the master list of the advisors in selecting the respondents of the study. And then we write the name of the respondents in a sheet of paper, we roll it, and then we select it in a random way. Okay, for the research instrument, you will have to state your instrument that you use in your study. So for my research, I include I state this. The research instrument of the study was a researcher-made survey questionnaire. It consisted of two parts. The part one solicited on the profile of the respondents, such as the age, the sex, the monthly family income, and ethnicity. Then the part two was on the basic process skills in teaching science, categorized as observing, classifying, measuring, inferring, predicting, and communicating. So it depends on the study. There are really studies that includes they use two to three research instrument of their study. Then next is the validity and the reliability of the research instruments. Okay. So I state my validity and reliability of the research instrument as a survey questionnaire was developed by the researcher based on the research problems. Afterwards, it was referred to the advisor for comments and suggestions. Then the same instrument was submitted to the panel of experts who evaluated the item in terms of relevance, appropriateness, and sustainability to the research problems. So there is really the need for the validity and reliability of our research instrument. Okay, so there are research instrument that is really open in our websites where the researchers we have to adapt the research instrument but provided with permission. Okay, data gathering procedure. So how did I gathered the data? So this is the procedure. A letter of permission was sought from the school's division superintendent of Zamboanga City, to conduct the gathering of data to the selected grade 7. And letter was presented to the school administrators and schedules for the distribution and retrieval of the survey questionnaires. So the school administrators, okay, they gave the schedule as to when would be the availability of the students and the master teachers for the researchers to be in their school for them to conduct the gathering of data. and then they will have to notify so the researchers if the survey questionnaires is they will notify the researchers if the survey questionnaires of the researcher is will be available for directly to retrieve or to give instructions to the students, or as to when it will be retrieved. So it depends on the study or the questions that really needs either directly that the learners will have to answer, or they will just have to ask for a time for the students to answer the questionnaire in their at their convenient time. Okay, for the chapter 3, research methodology, so I include this statistical treatment of data. Okay, first is the Slovene formula. I already mentioned about Slovene formula earlier, that in Slovene formula, this is the tool that we measure for the sample size from the total population, wherein there's really a formula for this. Okay, so um, we need to compute for, we really need to ask for the permission from the planning officer of the school to ask for the total population of the respective schools, and then apply the Slovene formula for us to determine the sample size of our study. And then we have the simple percentage. This is the measure or the tool that measures the data on the background information of the respondents. Third, we have the weighted mean. This is the tool that measures the extent or the level of the process skills in terms of observing, classifying, measuring, inferring, predicting, or communicating. Then we have the mean and standard deviation. Okay, this is the tool that measures a student level on performance tasks on the students in the first and the second quarter. Then we have also the Pearson product moment correlation coefficient. Okay, this is the tool that measures the impact of the process skills in teaching science on the science performance tasks for the individual and the group performance tasks. We have also the one-way ANOVA. This is the tool that measures the difference in the process skills in teaching science and the student level of performance tasks when the respondents are categorized according to age, the family income, and ethnicity. Then the last one, we have the t-test for independent samples. So this is the tool to make sure the difference in the performance tasks in teaching science and the student level of performance, um, the student level of performance tasks when the respondents are categorized according to sex. Okay, so we are now here in the most highlighted in my the findings in my research. Okay, the chapter 4, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of data. So if we will have to go back or to determine our problem number 1, what are the process skills in teaching science in terms of observing, classifying, measuring, inferring, predicting, and communicating? So here are the results and the survey tool. So the first table, you notice this is the result for the process skills in teaching science in terms of observing. So we can say that the first table presents that all of the statement will rated in the rating scale of 2.5 to 3.24 described as agree and interpreted to mean perform. So the data revealed that the respondents gave the highest weighted mean of 2.99 to the statement, I can manipulate objects in order to expose its properties or characteristics. Moreover, on the other hand, the lowest weighted mean is 2.83 with the statements I can order events chronologically. But the average weighted mean of 2.94 described as agree and interpreted to mean perform. So this implies that the grade 7 were able to perform all the desired competencies for the process skills of observing because they can able to perform. For the second table, this is the process skills in teaching science in terms of classifying, wherein these are the results of my grade 7 respondents. Wherein we can see in the table that the table present that all of the in the table 2 presents that there is a one rated in the rating scale of 2.5 rated mean of 3.25 to 4.0, described as highly agree and interpreted to highly perform. Okay. And then there are six wherein it reveals that the respondents gave an answer or the rated scale of 2.5, 2.50 to 3.24 described as agree and interpreted to mean perform. So, moreover, the highest weighted mean is 3.36, wherein in the statements that the students I can perceive similarities and differences in a set of objects. So, on the other hand, the students rated 2.79 as the lowest weighted mean. Okay, to the statements, I can group a set of objects on the basis of gross identifiable variations. So, the average weighted mean for the process skills in terms of teaching science, in terms of classifying, is 2.02, described as agree and interpreted as perform. So this implies that the grade 7 were able to perform the desired competencies for classifying. For the third process skills, which is the measuring, okay, so the table here presents that all of these statements were rated in the rating scale of 2.0 to 3.24, described as agree and interpreted to mean perform. So the data revealed that the respondents gave the highest weighted mean of 3.12. Okay, to the statement, I can order objects by inspections in terms of selected common properties such as size, the shape, and the weights. Okay. Likewise, the students rated the lowest weighted mean of 2.88 to the statement, I can identify measurable physical quantities which can be used in precise description of phenomena. The average weighted mean for process skills in terms of measuring is 2.99, okay, described as agree and interpreted as mean perform. So this implies that the grade 7 were able to perform the desired competencies of the process skills in terms of measuring. Okay, on the second table, we have the process skills in terms of inferring. Okay, so you can see that in the table, that the table presents that all of the statement were rated in the rating scale of 2.0, 2.50 to 3.24, described as agree and interpreted to mean perform. Okay, so the data revealed that the respondents gave the highest weighted mean of 3.12 with the statement, I can develop an inference from a set of related observation. Okay. On the other hand, the students gave the lowest weighted mean of 2.77 to the statement, I can provide inferences to formulate models. So the average weighted mean for process skills in terms of science, in terms of inferring, is 2.94, described as agree and interpreted to mean perform. So this implies that the grade 7 were able to perform all the desired learning competencies for the process skills in terms of inferring. Okay, let's proceed to the fifth process skills. We have here the results. Okay, the findings of the process skills in terms of in teaching science in terms of predicting. Okay, so the first table here presents that all of the statements were rated in the rating scale of 2.50 to 3.24, described as agree and interpreted to mean perform. Okay, the data revealed that these respondents gave the highest weighted mean of 3.05, described as agree and interpreted as perform. Okay. In contrast, the lowest weighted mean of 2.75 with the statements I can use interpolation and extrapolation as a means of making predictions. So the average weighted mean is 2.89, which describe as agree and interpreted as perform. So the same thing, this implies that the grade 7 were able to perform all the desired competencies for the process skills of predicting. Then the last is the process skills in teaching science in terms of communicating. Okay, you notice that in our second table, the table that can be found in the right side, that um, the table or the data presents that all of these statements were rated in the rating scale of 2.50 to 3.24, described as agree and interpreted to mean perform. So the data revealed that the respondents gave the highest weighted mean of 3.24, described as agree and interpreted as perform. So moreover, the lowest weighted mean the lowest weighted mean is 2.84. With the statements, I can state questions and hypotheses concisely, described as agree and interpreted as perform. So the average weighted mean for communicating is 2.98, described as agree and interpreted as perform. So this means that the grade 7 were able to perform all the desired competencies in the process skills in terms of communicating. So for my next slides is to answer the problem number 2. What are the process skills in terms of science, in terms of observing, classifying, inferring, predicting, and communicating? Wherein I show this in my table, the summary of the results of the process skills, so that we can able to determine what process skills that the students is their strengths and is their weaknesses. Okay, so let's take a look in this table. So it can be gleaned in our table, the weighted mean for the grade 7 for each process skills. So as presented, all process skills rated in the 2.50 to 324, described as agree and interpreted to mean perform. So if we will have to look into the table, okay, so the average weighted mean reveals that the process skills of classifying, okay, was rated the highest, which is 2.02. This means that the grade 7 students could perform these process skills better compared with the other skills. So this strength of the students is the classifying. So it means they master these skills in the learning competencies, or they can able to perform the skills of classifying when they will have to perform an individual or group task. Okay. On the other hand, the process skill rated the lowest, okay, with an average weighted mean of 2.89, agree as no 2.89 described as agree and interpreted as perform. As observed by the researchers, that these process skills is more difficult for the grade 7 students. So it means that for the process skills of predicting, they are quite having a difficulty. So with the process skills of predicting, it involves the higher thinking skills, and also it involves the higher mathematical analysis or in the grade 7 that we need to focus for its development of their process skills in predicting. Okay, in conclusion to my findings, the grade 7 rated the rating scale of 2.50 to 3.24 described as agree and interpreted to mean perform all six basic process skills in science. So this study disclosed that the grade 7 acquisition of the different process skills were performed by the students. Their science process skills indicated that they have met the basic grade level content standard as stipulated in the basic education curriculum of the K-12 program of the DepEd. So it means that our grade 7 learners in the five schools, they can able to perform the process skills. Okay, having that, as I say in my introduction, we the science teachers in our division, we need to revisit the process skills for 2 months before we at for 2 weeks rather for 2 weeks before we will have to proceed further with the discussion of our learning competencies in the MELC in science. Okay, for problem number 3, what is the level of the performance task of the respondents during the first and the second quarter in terms of individual performance tasks and group performance tasks? Okay, you can see here in our table. Okay, the first table that shows the descriptive statistics for the first quarter, and the second table, this display the descriptive statistics for the second quarter. Okay, for grade 7 students in their performance in terms of individual and group performance tasks. So to summarize, or we need to highlight the findings. Okay, so in the table, the mean for the individual performance tasks, which was 35.73 with the standard deviation of 20.55 for the group task, the mean for 46.80, and mm, and the mean for was 46.80 and with the standard deviation of 26.23. Moreover, the mean were 82.53 for the initial grade point with 42.57 standard deviation. So the same thing here in our second quarter. The mean for individual is 37.96 and the mean for group performance task is 39.19. And the initial grade point score for performance task is 87.15. So this means that the mean result for the first quarter, which is 82.53 for the first quarter and 87.15 for the second quarter, indicated that the science performance of our students was satisfactory. Okay. For our problem number 4, we have here the statement: is there a significant impact of the process skills in terms of students' level of performance tasks in the individual performance and the group performance task in first quarter and second quarter. Okay, for the first table, this is the correlation statistics for the first quarter, and the first second table is the correlation statistic for second quarter. Okay, so as shown in the correlation statistic, there was a positive correlation between the mean of the process skills and the students in the first individual performance task. It can further be seen that the process skills have p-value. We have here the p-value that is less than 0.05 and where is statistically significant. So it is less than 0.05. So when we say less than 0.05, so this implies that the process skills in teaching science collectively has significant impact to the students' level of individual performance tasks. And the same thing to the group performance task for the first quarter. Okay. So in our second table here, so it shows in the correlation statistics that there was a positive correlation between the mean of the process skills and the respondents in the second quarter group performance tasks. So it can be further seen that all of the process skills have the p-value less than 0.05. So once it is having a value of less than zero point zero 0.05, it is statistically significant. Okay. And then for the chapter 5, the summary of findings and conclusions, I can see that the respondents, the grade 7 students were able to perform all the process skills in accordance to the grade level standard of grade 7 science class as set forth for the grade 7 science curriculum in the K-12 program of the DepEd. There is a significant impact of the most of the process skills in teaching science and the students' level of individual and the group performance tasks, either in the first quarter, which is in chemistry, and in the group performance task in the second quarter, which is in the fields of biology. So my recommendations or the recommendation of the study is to recommend to implement the review on the processing skills in teaching science on the first week of classes to all secondary sciences curriculum. Teachers may prepare individual or group performance tasks that signifies the mastery of the student's level on the process skills, either in the chemistry, the biology domain, and the trans respectively. So this is the photo opportunity that I had in my school A, school B, school C, school D, and the school E respondents of my study. So the time check is 9:17. So that's it. And thank you, Ma.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with our participants. So, how are you feeling now?
I was able to.
Really, I'm so proud to have you here. So honored to have you here, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, ma'am, we will move to our quiz competition segment right now, and after that, we will come back with you in our Q&A session. So,
Okay.
stay
Yes.
with us here. Okay,
Okay.
thank you. So it's time for quiz. My dear lovely audience, get ready for the quiz competition segment. The code is already flashed on our screen. That is IGP. You can directly go to Slido, www.slido.com. Give the code IGP and use your full name because it will print in the winner certificates. Yes. And there is two other option to join in our live quiz competition. We will share the joining link in our comment box, and you can see this QR code when we start our live quiz competition. So you can also scan the QR code, or if you download the Slido app in your mobile, that will be very easy to join in our live quiz competition. So I'm requesting to all of our participants, please join with us, and also don't forget to tag, share, and mention your friends in our comment. So after the short video, we will come back. And today, top ten will be awarded with quiz completion certificates. So enjoy this short video. All right. So okay, so the code is quiz IGP. That's not IGP. That is quiz IGP. Sorry, sir. Okay, we are correct. We correct the code. That is quiz IGP. The code is already flashed in our screen. And you can find the joining link in our comment box. Also, you can scan the QR code if you want. And right now we have 26 participants who have joined with us. Thank you so much, Ma'am Charlene, for mentioning about it. So now we are waiting for our participants. And right now we have 35 participants who have already joined in our live quiz competition. Okay, so we will also share the international webinar code after the Q&A session. So you have to stay with us. You have to stay with us till the end. Just note that there is no relation between the quiz completion certificates and the international webinar certificates. Yes, sir. The code is quiz IGP. We have already recorrected, and it's now flashed on our screen. Thank you so much, sir. So we are still waiting for our participants. Right now we have 44 participants. Thank you so much, ma'am Gemma Benelade for joining with us. Thank you so much, ma'am Carmela Behan. We have ma'am Christina Vidal Rosario, Sir Joy Guevara, Sir Ellen Hood Brutus, ma'am Kiefer Rivera, ma'am Stella, Sir John, ma'am Jameline. We have Sir Mario, ma'am Jeanaline, Wheeler Resurrection. We have Sir Reniel, Sir Joseph Nicholas Blesser. We have Ma'am Stella, Ma'am Gloria, Ma'am Kiefer, Ma'am Leah Facunda, Ma'am Rosanna, yes, Rosanna Guevara. So thank you everyone for joining with us. Okay, so we will start our live quiz competition within a minute. Thank you so much, Ma'am Emily, for mentioning the quiz. You're welcome, sir. All right, so we have 10 questions. And now I think we're ready. Okay, let's start it. So the first question, science is option number one, way of learning about the natural world plus the knowledge gained. Option number two, process that provides answers immediately. Okay, so the right answer is option number one, and 98% of our participants got the correct answer. Congratulations. All right, so we have Ma'am Charlene Kalahamaguchi leading on top in our first round. Following Ma'am Jeanine Resurrection, we have Ma'am Leah Facunla, Ma'am Charlene and El Infante, and Ma'am Evelyn Peveteri. Congratulations to those who answered correctly. Okay, so moving to next question. Using science and math, different skills and methods to process things and simplify tasks is called sports or technology. Correct answer is technology, and 98% of our participants got the correct answer. Great. So again, we have Ma'am Charlene Kalohamaguchi spot on first position. Following Sir Alex Xavier Alvarez, we have Ma'am Leah Facunla, Ma'am Angelina Velasco, and Ma'am Gineline Villa Resurrection. All right, let's see the next question. Question number 3. Person plus task plus context equal performance. What is this? Is this Colossi of human performance or Moho? The time is up. And the right answer is option number 1. 90% of our participants goes with the correct answer. All right, so again we have Ma'am Charlene Kalahamaguchi leading on top. Following Ma'am Angelina Velasco, we have Ma'am Leah Facunla, Ma'am Maria Genda Salina Ditan, and Sir Alex Alvarez. I can remember that Ma'am Maria played a great in our morning session, right? Okay, let's see the next question. This theorist believes that illness will impact normal development by a loss of skills or a regression of skills. Option number 1, Leela Lawrence, or option number 2, Claudia Allen. I think it's a statement. Okay, the correct answer is option number one, and 63% of our participants answered correctly. Great. Okay, so here is our leaderboard and no change in the name. Okay, moving to next question. Question number 5. According to science, when did the first hominids evolve? Option number one, 2.5 million years ago, and option number two, 4.4 million years ago. All right. So the correct answer is option number two, that is 4.4 million years ago, and only 30% of our participants are the correct answer. Okay, so in this round we have Ma'am Gloria Kariaga leading on top. Following Ma'am Nika Jenna Javier, we have Sir Aaron John Carrion, Sir Esther, and Ma'am Channeline Kalahamaguchi. So congratulations, those answered correctly. Let's see the next question. All right, so this is true false. Access to modern science and technology does make modern culture superior. Option number one, true, and option number two is false. Correct answer is false, and only 19% of our participants got the correct answer. So again, we have Ma'am Gloria Carrioga, following Ma'am Jeannaline Wheeler Resurrection. We have Ma'am Maria Jenda Salina Titan, and we have Ma'am Nika Jenna Javier and Sir John Carrion. All right, moving to next question. Science involves gathering data through blank of nature. Option number one, experiment, and option number two, observation. Correct answer is observation, and 63% of our participants get the correct answer. Okay, so in this round, we have Ma'am Maria Jenda Selena Titan leading on top, following Ma'am Nika Jenna Javier. We have Sir Esther, Sir John, and Ma'am Carmela Behan. Congratulations, those answered correctly. Let's see the next question, question number 8. In science, can a hypothesis be accepted as true after one test? Yes or no? Correct answer is no, and 62% of our participants answer correctly. Here is our leaderboard. You can see the name on the screen. All right, so let's move to the next question. According to science, when did the Big Bang happen? 3.5 million years ago or 13.5 billion years ago? The correct answer is option number two, and 72% of participants answered correctly. Okay, so again we have Ma'am Maria Jenda Salina Tidan leading on top. We have Ma'am Nika Jenna Javier, Ma'am Carmela Behin, Sir Alan Hua Brutus, and Sir Joel Bernasser. Lovely. So let's proceed to our last question, question number 10. Is the art, science, or profession of teaching Teaching or pedagogy? What do you think, is this teaching or pedagogy? Sorry, pedagogy. Yes. Okay, so the correct answer is pedagogy, and 85% of our participants got the correct answer. So let's see our leaderboard and our top 10 quiz competition winners then. Oh, great. Congratulations, Ma'am Maria Agenda Salina D10. You are leading on top again. Okay, so we have Ma'am Nika Jena Javier plays second, Ma'am Carmela Bihi plays third, Sir Alan Huabutos plays fourth, Sir Aaron John Carrion plays fifth. Okay, we have Sir Joel Bernasor plays sixth, Ma'am Marilo B. Sanadan plus 7. Ma'am Stella plays 8. Sir Sunday plays 9. And Sir John plays 10. Lovely. So congratulations to our top 10 quiz competition winners. Yes. So we will post your winner certificates to our Facebook official page. So don't forget to collect your quiz competition winners certificates. Okay, so thank you so much to our participants. We will proceed to our next segment, that is Q&A. Yes. So get ready with your questions or your queries you want to ask our speaker. All right. So before that, let me remind all of you, don't forget to tag, share, and mention your friends in our comments. So after this short video, we will come back. Hello, man.
Hello, ma'am.
Welcome once again.
Okay, yes, I am so happy knowing that one of my co-teachers here in Mercedes National High School was able to hit the top 10 in the quiz
Oh, great.
competition. Say hi to Ma'am Joanne Candido. Congrats, ma'am.
So, dear knowledge seeker, we are waiting for your questions. If you have any question, please write down in your comment box. So, how do you feel right now?
I'm
You have
so
done your presentation.
happy. I'm really happy to share my insights. So
I
not
think
only to my
I,
co-science mentors, but even with my students, they were able to watch me here on screen. They texted me, "Wow, I was able to give my speakership." And then aside from that, this is really an opportunity, a big opportunity that's given by the IGP. And thank you so much. And thank you, IGP.
and I think you have take a long time research on this topic, right? I mean, you are researching on this.
Yes, ma'am.
The way you shared the slide, every point of your presentation, I've noticed that.
Yes, and the research was conducted year 2019-20, but we have, since we are knocking to the level of the process skills of our students now, in which we experience a difficulty to measure it because there is really no face-to-face instructions for them. We cannot personally see how they will have to demonstrate or to develop the process skills within them in the classroom because of this learning modality. That's why we have our research, another research for process skills. We are implementing tapping for those researchers, especially in science department. If possibly, they will have to integrate questions for process skills in the for the contextualization of their learning materials.
They are blessed to have you as a teacher.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a question now. Okay, so the question is from Ma'am Stella. Good evening, Ma'am Rena. How did the pandemic significantly affect the students' performances? Nice question.
How did the pandemic significantly affect the students' performances? So actually, when we will have to identify our the level of our students now in terms of performances, there is really an issue for us to determine in terms of the reliability. Wherein, as I say, we cannot determine it personally, but because of the learning materials that we have in the slms or in the modules, we can able to see some of the activities in which they integrate questions for developing students for developing the science process skills. And then, as we say that there's a shift of modality. The deaf ed in the Philippines, that's why we are so very grateful. The deaf ed in the Philippines, wherein we have a immediate response on that shifting, wherein the performance task, wherein we weighted 50% of it, wherein through performance tasks we can able to improve, and then we can able to there are really performance tasks that it really requires for the students to perform, just like a video presentation. They will have to submit that, wherein through that performance task in a video presentation, we can able to see that it is really the students themselves who prepared that performance task in their output.
Lovely. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your answer. I think Ma'am Stella is satisfied.
Hello, Mom Stella.
Here in our platform, I've just noticed that most of the participants are teachers. So I feel very lucky. Still, I'm a student,
Wow!
but I'm
Yes.
seeing the teachers every day. They are very, let's say, they're love to learn, love to share. They just take it as a not just as a profession. They just take it as a passion. Their passion. So that is very encourage me to go in that profession, to
To
choose
become
that
a
profession.
teacher.
Okay, so comments from Ma'am Loreno. Thank you so much, Ma'am Della, Ma'am Sheila. Okay, I think there is no more question.
No more questions?
Still, we're waiting.
No more questions? Yes. And then that's why I'm really thinking with my topic. Is it really timely? Of course, it is really timely because we don't know what will be the level of our students if we will not have to impart questions on the basic process skills in our learning competencies or in the learning materials. See to it that although our learning materials is developmentally appropriated to our learners, but it is really good if the learning materials for science is though who constructed those materials are the master teachers, the teachers who are really in field in the science.
So I think we have a question. Okay. So it's from Ma'am Loreno. What is the best way for the students to cope their studies in the midst of pandemic? Good question.
So thank you, Ma'am Cheska, for the question. Okay, what is the best way for the students to cope their study in the midst of pandemic? Okay, so this really pandemic give really a a crisis to our educational system. The teachers really have a way wherein we can able to say that there's really a barriers wherein we can give our quality of education to our students. But knowing that pandemic is really real, okay, and we are in the second school year of the implementation of this pandemic. Thanks for our agency wherein we have this, they really response to this learning competency, the learning continuity plan, wherein the teachers they were able to give their best in the delivering of the content in the maps to the students, wherein the students in our assessment, in our one of the highlight in the depth ed that I mentioned is in this modality in times of pandemic. Okay, there is the tapping of the parents' involvement, wherein although the teachers cannot teach the lessons to the students at home, but in a way that through group chat, so sometimes we have this blended learning wherein we can give our instructions to students. But aside from that, we are tapping the parents of our learners to assist their the performance of their students, especially those students who cannot comprehend at their level, especially those students who have experienced a difficulty or academic difficulty in their study. So the best way is for the students to cope um, their studies in terms of acquiring the learning competencies is aside from we tap parents, we also tap their siblings, their neighbors, or even to have a group or a classmate or group chats wherein they can share their answers at their own level.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, all the things that I think through your presentation, your students, not only your students, all over the globe who are watching this, and they have learned a lot on the topic. So thank you once again, and I think we have no more question from our participants. They are very pleased with your presentation.
Questions?
Yes. Thank you so much, Ma'am Brianna, once again for coming in our platform. We are very honored to have you here. Especially, I'm very happy to see you.
Okay, me too. I'm more than happy. Me learning with these happy faces. I'm not Shrien, thank you for your warm welcome. And then I will also to say thank you, our teachers who really supported. I can see teachers in my colleagues, they were able to join in the quiz competition. I have seen their names on the screen. In that way, I can also impart IGP and my insights to them.
Thank you so much, and ma'am, congratulations.
Thank you, Mom Nashreen. Thank you. Thank you
And
too.
really, I'm looking forward another session with you. Is this is if it will happen, then I'll be very happy.
Okay. We will.
Okay.
We will.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, ma'am. All right, so now we are moving to our next segment, that is certification process. After this short video, we will come back. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us because we will share the code so that you can eligible for your ISO verified certificates. All right, so today's certification process is already flashed on our screen. The program name is Science Process Skills Impact on Students' Performance Task. Yes. The code is IGP 7610. Let me tell you one second. The code is IGP 7610 and it's July 21, Thursday. Okay, so without this code, you can take a screenshot or you can note in your mobile. And without this code, you're not eligible for certificates. And with this code, you can claim your certificates anytime from our website. So our website address is www.eduigp.com. So visit our website and collect your certificates. Now also don't forget to celebrate with IGP. So dear participants, for our quiz competition winners, we already post your certificates in our official page. So collect it and don't forget to comment and react in the post. Yes. Once again, thank you so much to all of our participants for staying with us patiently still now. And I feel so great to have our speaker, Ma'am Roanna, tonight. I feel blessed to have her. Yes. So I'm inviting all of you to our next session Saturday morning. So don't miss it, my dear participants, dear listeners, dear learners, dear teachers, and all the members who are watching, members of IGP who are watching. And thank you to all of our, yes, all of our community facilitating official team, because you guys are doing a great job. Yes, ma'am, Cheska, you can receive your certificate from our website. You have to visit our website. If you don't have any account, just create an account. Without your account, you can visit our website, but with the account, you can claim your certificates with the code. We have already shared the code. Or you have any, if you have any question, please send a text or message in our official page. So we will communicate through the messenger. Yes. So thank you once again to all of our participants. I'm requesting everyone to join our next session. Till then, stay safe and blessed and never stop learning. Because Sir Albert Einstein said that once you stop learning, you start dying. So don't do that. Just keep learning. Stay with IGP. Keep learning here. Yes. Okay, ma'am, Jessica, I'm requesting you to send directly message to our Facebook official page. Then we'll be clear about it. Thank you so much. So thank you so much to all of our participants once again. I'm Nasrin Nisha from Bangladesh, your host for this tonight, and I'm very blessed to hosting this program. Thank you so much and good night, everyone.